everyone, and welcome to episode 5 of Pro Sential series, a communication skills guide designed specially for engineers, brought to you by Unacademy. I'm your communication coach, Suman. In the last 4 episodes, we've covered so many important skills essential for future engineering leaders. Make sure you check them out if you already haven't. In the last episode, we looked at how to connect with the audience through different mediums like emails and presentations. We also learned how to analyze your audience and structure your content accordingly. Today, we'll go a step ahead and look at how to use that connect to handle difficult conversations in life and at work. This will prove a crucial skill set for you as a future leader. We all face difficult situations and conversations at work and in our lives. It's unavoidable. Let's see what are the different ways in which we can tackle difficult situations through some examples. To start with, let's understand what is a difficult conversation. Say you missed an important assessment test on top of skipping the last few assignments in college, and now your professor refuses to give you a grade for the semester. How will you communicate with your professor to resolve the situation? You're new at your job and have a misunderstanding with your boss. How will you clear that up? Or you need to give feedback to someone on your team who isn't meeting deadlines for some reason. All these situations call for careful thought and empathy, whether you're at the receiving end of the feedback or the giving. Disagreements and difference of opinion is always going to be a part of your work life. It could be about how you work or what you present. In fact, even during an interview, you might face a difficult question like, why did you leave your previous job? Or on the job, it could be giving a coworker feedback on his poor performance. Do you recall the best practices of giving and receiving feedback from episode 3? Here are a few reminders. For the interview conundrum, prepare a response for the interview with a balanced perspective. Don't badmouth your old employer, but still give a valid reason why you quit the job. Be respectful and do it privately. If you're giving feedback to a coworker, always do it privately. Ask questions and try and understand his or her perspective too. Ask your interviewer, why is it that they cannot give you what you're asking? Ask your coworker, why is it that meeting deadlines has been so difficult for him? The top tips to understand the different perspectives around you is to ask and then listen attentively. Ask people about how they feel about their work. Are they happy? Do they have all the information? Is there anything else that they can do to make things better? How do they like working with you? Ask for feedback on your own work. Is there something that you can do better? What do they think about things happening around you? And then listen attentively. Pay special attention to words and tone. Remember, passive-aggressive people really don't mean what they're saying, so which is why when you listen to their words and tone, you will understand if they actually mean it. And reflect on the implications. What did you just understand and what action do you need to take? A lot of times, even when you don't ask, the buzz around you can tell you a lot about what people are thinking. Now, let's look at a few specific ways in which you can go ahead and deal with difficult conversations. First of all, try and reframe the word difficult as normal in your head. We hate difficult situations because we build it up in our mind and we say, oh my God, I just hate to do this. But maybe normalize it in your head and say, I have to give this person feedback and hence it's going to be important for him to do better on his job. So it's not difficult, it's just a great conversation to have. Use emotional intelligence and empathy. We are going to talk about this in greater detail later during the episode. The key is to be open to understanding and accommodate. Listen. When in doubt, always listen. And we've already looked at what to listen to, the words and the tone of what somebody is saying. If it's a disagreement with one person, do it in private instead of calling it out in a meeting in front of everyone. If you're handling disagreements as a group, get them all together in a room as a moderator and facilitate the resolution. Always remember to keep your tone respectful and body language positive. But what if the conflict is not resolved? How do you respond? The whole world was in a pandemic, and this calls for show of emotional intelligence. Research shows that tough love doesn't work when someone's facing a crisis. For instance, if someone is on the verge of losing his or her job, they wouldn't react well to something like, buckle up and stop moping. That's not a problem for you. But instead, here are a few tips on how to go ahead and address a situation like this. First of all, acknowledge. Accept that there is a problem. Accept that somebody is upset. Second, sympathize. Tell them that you understand what they're going through. And don't patronize. Don't say something like, I told you so. Again, listen empathetically to understand what they're trying to say. If it is possible, offer solutions to them to make the situation better. Here are a few don'ts when you handle difficult situations. Don't give unsolicited advice. Don't give examples of different people where it does not apply to a given situation. Nobody wants advice when they're really going through difficult times. Don't make it about you. Don't say, I would never be afraid of something like this, or I would do so great even in such a situation. Again, don't resort to tough love. It doesn't help to tell people to just move on. Now, let's look at some important tools to help you handle unpleasant differences. And the first one is empathy. So what is empathy? The feeling that someone else is feeling without giving out logical solutions to their problem. When you tell someone, I understand, I get it. Why is empathy important? It's important to make relationships better. When you connect with someone you talk to on an emotional level, relationships always get better. It leads to more productive communication. Like I said, if someone's upset, you ask them not to be, that's not productive. But if you can identify with what they're feeling, you'll obviously be able to give suggestions that are more relevant to the situation. Project a well-adjusted social image. Someone who can empathize is actually a well-adjusted person. So, how do we use empathy in communication? Number one, understand the perspective of others. A simple way to do that is just to listen and understand why somebody is feeling the way they are. Use language that will respect other people's feelings. If you say you have a problem and you are reacting this way, that's not the kind of language that really respects someone who's not feeling good. Be sensitive to gender and culture. It's not a good idea to say any angry woman is hormonal or people in that culture are like that, so it's okay. Use the right tone in writing. The words that you're going to use when you say is equivalent to how you will translate that in writing. Take an interest in others and listen attentively. Empathizing is a great way to be emotionally intelligent in sensitive situations, and this is a skill that you will use a lot when you become a leader. Before we wind up this episode, a quick note about cross-cultural sensitivity. In today's work world, we work with people from multiple generations, backgrounds, cultures, and everybody has a different way of looking at dealing with things. So build cultural awareness. Understand how Generation X is better than Z, is different from millennials. Organize your thoughts and keep a calm tone if you're talking to someone who's not from your culture. Avoid gender-biased comments. If you're in doubt, don't say it. If you think you shouldn't, maybe you shouldn't. Read up or take a course on cultural sensitivity because that will only make you a better communicator. This episode gave you tips on dealing with some hard conversations and how to come up on top in such situations. Remember that empathy will go a long way in managing such situations well. In the next episode, we learn all about writing an impressive resume and creating a great narrative to go with it. Hit like if you liked the episode. Comment and tell us what you thought. Share it with your friends who'll find it useful. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss the upcoming episodes. Thank you.